For those of you who don't know me, my name is Terry Cook. I'm the executive member for Neighbourhoods involvement in the City Council, and therefore I'm the politician who's responsible for these neighbourhood partnerships. Later on during this session we'll be meeting some other people and speakers, and I'll be introducing our speakers as they come up. I'm afraid you've got me for the next 15 minutes or so. And what I want to do is just kind of lay out to you a quick view of where I as executive member see that we are with neighbourhood partnerships and where we need to be in the coming years. So some of this is going to be fact, some of it is going to be fiction, but some of it will be ambition as to where we plan to be and where we want to be in the coming years with neighbourhood partnerships. I'm going to stand up if that's okay. Can you still hear me if I stand up? Yeah. I feel better standing up. Okay, let me first of all say, what exactly is neighbourhood partnerships? And what are neighbourhood partnerships? Let me first of all start off by saying what they are not. What they are not are replacements for existing community groups, existing interest groups, or any other grouping of people who are serving their communities. These neighbourhood partnerships are not the replacement for those. Their role is to help facilitate and bring into sharper focus the works of those areas. We are not looking to replace anything that currently exists. Neither are they organisations or structures purely run by councillors. Because if we don't get the balance right between the running of our neighbourhood partnerships, between our elected members who have a major role because they are the people the community have voted in to be the community representative for that area, but also if we don't involve those of you in the community who are working with the community and involve the community as a whole, then we will have failed. I kind of started off by saying two things they are not. Let me just try and give you a very quick Terry Cook definition of what a neighbourhood partnership is. The neighbourhood partnership will be the lens through which services from all public agencies will be focused. I'll say that again. The neighbourhood partnership will be the lens through which services from all public agencies will be focused. And I want just to leave that thought with you during this actual time today, is to say that actually what neighbourhood partnerships are about bringing a local focus to all those diverse services that the public sector looks to bring in to help our communities. That will include the council, Bristol City Council. But it's not just Bristol City Council, and if it ends up just being Bristol City Council, we will have failed. It has to be also the police, the health service through the PCTs. It also has to be fire and rescue through the fire service and other agencies. It's the neighbourhood partnerships in each locality should be the focus for the services for all of those individual agencies. The belief will be, and the hope and the ambition must be, that by focusing through the neighbourhood partnership, we will get that wonderful word which we call synergy. So that actually you won't have an initiative taking place over there that the police are involved in, that are going on over there, and there's exactly a similar one going on over there that the council are involved in. But through neighbourhood partnerships, through focusing all this through neighbourhood partnerships, we will have a much better rounded service given to our community. Second thing to say is, actually, if I can turn the analogy around, the neighbourhood partnerships should focus what their communities want back up to those service providers. I think a classic example has been the work that the police have been doing through the PACT system, which I think has been a fantastic success throughout the city, where they've actually gone to community groups and said, we would like you to set our priorities. I think what we're hoping and our ambition for neighbourhood partnerships is that you will be able to do that with all the services. So if you believe that within your neighbourhood and your community that you deserve a better service from a particular area of the City Council, for example, you should be able to focus that back up through your elected members through into the council itself. And actually, the council will have to change, and the council knows this, the City Council will have to change, so it becomes more reactive and much more nimble of foot to be able to service the needs of neighbourhood partnership. So if you're thinking of yourself as a lens that is there to focus the needs of your community, but also so the service providers can focus through you, then that's the kind of picture and the ambition that we're looking for neighbourhood partnerships. Let me just say something about that's the kind of picture, okay? And let me just say something very quickly about the current state of where we are with neighbourhood partnerships. I think what we've got to recognise, first and foremost, is that we have not got a single model of what a neighbourhood partnership looks like. And my view is we will probably never have a single model of what a neighbourhood partnership looks like, because the neighbourhood partnership needs to be structured to meet the needs of that particular community. I was talking to the lady from St Paul's a minute ago there and saying, look, the needs of St Paul's are different than the needs of Clifton. Okay? They both have needs, but they're different needs, and therefore their neighbourhood partnerships should be flexible enough to reflect and have a structure to meet those needs. Now, most people in here are representative of some neighbourhood partnership or other, and you are all, in my view, at different states in terms of your development. There are some of you here that have actually been acting as neighbourhood partnerships for quite some considerable time, 5 or 6 years in some cases, and you are very mature in what you are doing. There are some of you here who have very strong existing structures. I'm thinking here particularly of the management partnerships, the neighbourhood management partnerships that are around, that are very strong within those structures and are facing a challenge of how you actually change and evolve into neighbourhood partnerships and how you get the best out of neighbourhood partnerships. There are some communities here that have very strong local community groups. And we're coming in and we're saying to you, here is an opportunity to take part in something wider and bigger. And you're saying, well, what is it that neighbourhood partnerships can give to us? There are some here who actually have never really had any great history of community involvement and community groups. And for those groupings, what is increasingly happening is that we are having to take the initiative to actually begin to help and develop and let those groups build and become involved as time goes on, so that they can begin to capture all that we can with neighbourhood partnerships. One of the big distinctions, the big changes we've made in neighbourhood partnerships in this agenda is that each area in the city will have its own neighbourhood partnership. In the past, these types of structures have been generally focused on urban renewal areas, urban regeneration areas, and many of the areas are actually sat outside of that agenda. This new agenda covers the whole city, and therefore it's not surprising that we've got some which are in different states. And that actually leaves us in a kind of a state of tension. I know there are some of you out there who are desperate to get on with this and are saying to me that we need this responsibility, we want to take this forward, we want to take this forward. And I would say to you, actually, I may frustrate you slightly in the coming months and the coming years, because I'm going to have to hold you back so that we actually spend some time developing those who are not quite so far up the route. For those of you who are further up the route, we've got to spend time to get you there as fast as we possibly can. What we have at the current time is resources to build structures. Okay? By the end of November, every neighbourhood partnership will have been launched and had some form of public meeting. So we will have if you like, a structure, a basket, a cup, whatever analogy you want to use, in which we can pour something. Now that might be stronger in some areas than others, as I've said, but we've got to find ways to strengthen that so that then we can begin to fill that cup that is a neighbourhood partnership with something which is meaningful. But we are still at this stage, and I know for some of you it's frustrating, at the point of building those strong mechanisms, those strong structures, so that then we can add more responsibility. I've said we're building a structure, and clearly there's no point just building a neighbourhood partnership without filling it with something. And I'm just going to throw out a few ideas of the kind of things that we will be looking to give to neighbourhood partnerships and to fill out that structure to give you that added value. Well, first of all, money. Okay? You've all been in receipt of some pump primer money, £5,000